Welcome to this edition of the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce News and Views show. On today's episode, we are going to start introducing our board members, and we have Eden Combs with us. Welcome to the show, Eden.
Hi, Diane.
I'm so excited that you are here. I know that you are a ray of sunshine for us here, and I'm excited that you're our first one. You were the perfect one to come on and be my guinea pig for this little series that we're doing inside of our News and Views show. So tell us a little bit about who you are, where you grew up, your family, and just a little bit about you as a person.
So my name is Eden Combs, and I grew up in McLeansville, which is not far south of here, and migrated to Reidsville about 11 years ago. So we have been here since 2011. My husband and I both now have 2 children, and their names are Cooper and Case. We adore them, and we are just excited to be a part of the community. We go to church here, kids go to school here. We're just a part of the community.
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot talking about your family, something that we share in common. When you mention school, we have this conversation a lot about our schools and how wonderful they are and how we like to spread the good word about things that our school system is doing. And both of our children are enrolled in the Spanish immersion program, or affectionately known as Splash. Tell us a little bit about your experience with that and how that has kind of shaped the future of your children's education here in our community.
Yeah, so when we started out and Cooper was starting in kindergarten, we just really weren't sure exactly what direction we wanted to go with school. You hear the good, you hear the bad, and then you hear ugly, but I feel like that's in everywhere, no matter where you go. There's always somebody that's had a bad experience that shines light on that. But there's so much good that we have also in our school systems, and I think that the teachers really do strive to give our kids everything that they can. So ultimately, we made a decision. We were not in the Bethany community, but we made a decision when he got into the Splash program to make that 25-minute commute and take him every day there and back, so that he could have just a different experience of learning Spanish from day one in the classroom, which I feel like is so important, and just gain an extra tool that he can use later in life. So we have loved it. The teachers were amazing through everything that we've endured and seen. They continued to conquer and be there even during the summers for our children to get that extra education that they missed in the classroom time. And we have been blown away by the blessing and support that our kids have received education-wise. Our youngest also goes to Community Baptist, and they have been phenomenal as well, and we just love the community as far as the support with all of the staff and teachers.
It's funny, I thought I was going to start crying when you were talking about it, because the pandemic was really hard for people with children. I got chill bumps listening to you talk about our teachers. There is just something different about, and I love teachers of all kinds. I have tons of friends that work in the school system that are teachers that have different positions. But there's something different about the Splash program because of the cultural piece. And it's just so interesting to me how that has shaped our kids and their experience. They're very loving and very... they treat you like your family kind of from the beginning. And so that has just been a very good thing for my kids. But I don't think that people understand that it's not just about learning Spanish, right? And so, like, from a business perspective and from a workforce development perspective, for people to understand that our kids are picking up not only that tool of that second language, like you said, but they're picking up the tool of how to make their brains operate and function differently, because those neurons are firing back and forth all day, where they're translating back and forth, like what does that mean to them in English, and how do they understand that and compute that. So I really hope to see this program thrive, because I do think it's going to make a difference in our workforce. And right now we have the oldest of that program, they're older than my kids, but they're in the middle school. So they're not far from taking their language test and from showing that they're completely bilingual and being in high school and choosing what their career paths are, and that's going to be that additional thing. So it's just so cool. And I was not planning on going down that path, but when you started talking about the kids, I was like, yeah, that's something we should mention. And it's just a great example. You've been a really good ambassador for that program, and that's important to me. I've always done that too. So that's just one facet of who you are and who your family is. So thank you for sharing willingly when I put you on the spot about it.
Yes. I just feel like, we have to raise the next generation of workforce, and I think instilling those values early on is very important. So I think them working for something at a young age, because it's working to learn something that they have no clue about. You drop them off in kindergarten day one and somebody's speaking a language they don't understand, but they quickly adapt. And I think all too often we don't give our kids enough credit for being adaptable. We want to protect them, and we want to do all of these things that just
Yes, ma'am.
really don't make them mold into who they are. So I think it's a great opportunity to teach them so many facets of things.
It really is. Well, you have just jumped in really in the last year, I would say, headfirst into a lot of community service and putting yourself out there. One of the things is joining our board, which we are so grateful for and excited for. This board has really re-energized itself and is really starting to work towards some great things, particularly on things like workforce development and things like what our goals and objectives are. We're an organization that's been around for over 115 years at this point. It's a lot. And we are trying to figure out who we are in this crazy new world, post-pandemic, and just, move forward. So tell us a little bit we've learned about your family a little bit and about your children, and tell us a little bit about, I know you're pretty involved with this, but I think you're involved with your church some and do some things there. Tell us about that and what you've been doing with them.
Yeah, so I've been at Fairview Baptist for about 6 years now, and we have loved it. The community there, it's located in Monroeton, so we're in all communities, and the community there is just phenomenal. The love, the support, and they do a lot of outreach. So the soup kitchen, they do the meals and blood drives and all kinds of things. Obviously, I can't be involved in everything, but I do try and pick some opportunities to show support within the church. I'm also part of the Reidsville Junior Service League, so they do a lot of outreach, which also they partner with you all to do different and various things around Reidsville and support the chamber as well. So I'm just excited for these opportunities that have been presented to me, and never in a million years did I think I'd be sitting here today with you doing something that I feel like is so important for our community.
Yeah, the Junior Service League is one of my favorite partners, just because it's just such a group of young women who, much like yourself, they want to help, want to be a part, want to give back. And you're a new member, so I know you haven't been able to do a lot of the things that they do, but they have some really great outreach programs too. Like you mentioned the church, the blood drive. Blood drives are super important. Both blood and plasma are two things that are high in need, especially with everything we've been through. And they also, they focus on the children, things that they can do to help our students be better. They've partnered with us on our Breakfast with Santa before. They partner with us on our beer gardens. And so there's just so many great opportunities for them to do outreach. And I always love to see them. They used to set up at the Fall Festival and, just do different things. So it's a really great organization. And I know that you're excited to be a part of that. The funny thing I think about you, and I don't know if you have like a personal motto or a slogan or something that you would consider that you live by every day, but you have got to be one of the most driven young women that I have met in a long time. There's a couple of you, and thankfully we were able to bring you both on our board, who have just really inspired me with your ability to manage all the things with your family. And I mean, your husband, he's a fireman, has a crazy schedule.
Yes.
And you guys seem to just make it work, and you're always so happy and so happy to try to pump up other people and to make people have a good day. And it's just really inspiring, because I think that sometimes we get lost in our own, day to day, just things that are bothering us or things that we're worried about. But you just seem to attack instead of react. And I just think that it's a very good thing as somebody who's an entrepreneur, as somebody who's building their career. You just have such a good, like, if I could look at somebody and say, oh, you're starting out, go talk to Eden Combs. Like, that's who I would talk to, because you just have this way about the way that you do things and the way that you are purposeful, right? Like, you have purposeful intentions when you set out to do something. Is there something that where does that come from? Like, where do you think that you set yourself up to be successful in the things that you do?
So it's funny you say slogan. So since I was little, the one thing that I could always say, it's so simple, is just believe. And I teach my children that too. So, to me, if you don't believe in yourself, who's going to believe in you? So I always tell my kids, no matter what they're doing, you have to believe in yourself. So it's very important to me. But I don't exactly know where it comes from. It's like my mom said the other day, my daughter isn't a flower. She, like a flower that's gonna go off. She's like a bomb. So I have this drive inside of me that I just feel like it's important to shine as women. I was always like the small one in the class, and people were like, you're so little and you're so cute. But I also want to be like a light for people. Our world can get so dark sometimes, and I just want everybody to be happy. So my go-to when people are sad is to like make a joke or say something that's going to make you smile, because it's just important that in the community we have people that are going to lift us up. So when I moved to Reidsville, I didn't have any friends. I didn't know anybody. I was like, gosh, this is horrible. But it's all in where you're at and who you're getting involved in. So I felt like as soon as I started plugging myself into church, that was the first thing, is plugging myself into church, and everybody was just so welcoming, and I was like, oh, this is nice. And then I start meeting and greeting downtown with different vendors, and going to local restaurants and supporting local, like we always say, support local, support small businesses, because it's very important. Those that I have went to over the years and met, that's where my business comes from, and those are the people that are now supporting me and believing in me to do the things that make it possible to put food on the table for my family and support them. So I just think that it's important that we all support each other. And there's enough business to go around. I love the next realtor that's next to me. There's enough business to go around. I want them to be successful. So if people have questions, I'm always happy to answer. It doesn't mean I always have the answer, but I can always try.
So there's so many things that I want to break down from what you just said. So you introduced what's going to be my next question was, what do you do for a living? And what is your business, and how do you see that in the future? So
I'm in real estate, and I started 5 years ago, a little over 5 years ago, in 2017. And so it's changed my life. It's made my schedule is so much more flexible than it used to be. Don't get me wrong, I am very busy. On the day in and day out, I'd live just like everybody else, from moment to moment, planning my every move of the day so I can just get it all done. And but I had great mentors along the way that have helped me be where I am. I'm grateful for the opportunities that they have given me to to be where I am right now. And so I've had a lot of people that have answered the questions. So I've been in that starting position, and I'm still feel like I'm only at the bottom of where I want to be at. So I hope to continue to grow and thrive and educate myself and meet everybody that I can that can help me be successful. You've already helped me a ton, and just sometimes I'm like, I have a question or I need help, and I'm like, call Diane. And if you don't know the answer, you usually can find somebody that does. So that's important, because that's what our chamber does, is we don't always have the answers as the chamber president or the chamber board, but we definitely probably know somebody who can get that for us, or get that for the next person that has that question.
You just put that so eloquently into what the chamber does, because a lot of times, right, people say, what does the chamber do? And we've been having that discussion a lot about telling our story, and this is a part of telling our story and telling the story of our people who make up the chamber, whether it's the board or the membership or, the community. And the chamber, that is the biggest thing that I try to encourage our board to think about, is our biggest resource is our people. It's our board members, it's our ambassadors, it's our staff. As far as like our budget and our marketing budget and our resources, and I tell people all the time, our people are our biggest resource, because we do, right? We know, and I've been building that for 11 years. Like, who do you go to? Where do you go? Who's the new person? Because it changes sometimes. Like, it's not always the same person that it was, or the same entity that it was for the resource. And right, so that's like our job, is to know we're basically like your human 411 for all things business and community. And if we don't know the answer, we're honest about we don't know the answer, but we'll get back to you and we'll figure out where we can send you if we don't know the answer. So you did such a great job with that, like even unprompted.
Well, I get that question so often, is what is the what does the chamber do? Well, they do a lot of things, but the most important thing they do is support the community. And so anytime somebody, is a business, be involved, because the more you're involved, the more you meet people who are going to support you and your business and be able to answer the questions that are going to come up as a business owner. So, and if you can't be involved because you don't have time, send staff. Your staff is important too, and they like to get out. So send your staff, because it's so nice to be able to say, oh yeah, I know so-and-so, and they do great. They do phenomenal. And it's been important to me to try and get to know the different entities of our community, so that I can be that support system when somebody asks me, like, who do I go to for this?
So it's funny that you say that, because I think that a lot of people think that the chamber is just an events organization, or just plans ribbon cuttings, or and it's funny that you say, go to the chamber. Or I'm going to tell a little story about you. We were talking before, and you were talking about how you stayed up, like watching YouTube videos, training yourself how to do social media so that you could grow your business. And that's the kind of thing like business owners have to do, right? Like, they have to find the resources, they have to train themselves. And that's what we do, right? Like, we help provide support to find those videos, or we provide a training about social media, which we've done in the past. Or we do these types of shows that tell people about certain aspects of the community or certain people. And you're right, because people say, oh, well, I don't know. I don't really get anything out of the chamber. But it's like you said, a lot of it's really just resources and knowledge and support. That's some of the biggest key. And in our mission, it says that we're champions of our community. And I don't know how else to explain it, but like, you're a champion in our community, and you're a champion in your own personal life, to your family and to your business. And that's kind of what we want to be, is we want to be like this champion for our business owners and for our community at large, and for our students as that we're building their workforce, for these companies and that are looking to come here, or for our, that's the thing we hear right now, is people don't have staff. People don't have help. Restaurants and stores are closing because they don't have enough staff. They don't have people to run their stores. And so, we focus on those issues and how can we help? How do we connect the dots? How do we connect people? How do we make relationships? So connections and support and networking and marketing and all those like key words, right? Like if we had a word cloud for the chamber, it would have all those things in it. And you're a big piece of that. And I'm so thankful that you wanted to come on and were so willing to, so that we could introduce a board member and say, like, these are the folks behind the chamber, right? Like it's not just Diane, it's not just the staff, it's not Star at the front door, it's not Bambi or Debbie on the phone. It's this group of board members and this group of ambassadors who are a part of the community that we're trying to help, but they're also stepping up and taking a bigger role and saying, this is who we are, we're here to help, how can we help you?
Yes, and I think sometimes when people hear board member, they're like, oh, or they think we're like some big shot, but we're just people. We're people like everywhere else that you see every day, and still living lives and have families, and we just want to make sure that our community sticks together.
Yeah, and it's twofold, right? Like you're here to give back and to be involved, but it grows your business and your network and that's
Yes.
right. So like we
It
get
does.
something and you get something. We scratch your back, you scratch ours. It's the same thing. Like you're providing more of a workforce for us, right? Like volunteering for events and volunteering to sit on committees and to help us grow and to help us help the community. But at the same time, you're gaining a whole network of friends and family. We're a chamber family. That's it to me. Coming on this side of all the things that we've been through, people reevaluating where their lives are, where their priorities are. It's more important to me than ever. The chamber has always been made up of people like you, people that we have. It's based on relationships. I tell people all the time, like it's based on relationships, and you are one of those key relationships. And so that's what we do, and that's how we help. You have just really also shown me that people can change the whole attitude of a room, of something that's set in motion. You have helped me. Sometimes when you've been doing something for a long time, right? Like you hit these roadblocks and you're trying to get over them, and it's people like you who are coming along behind and lifting up and moving forward and going over that roadblock. So I'm thankful to have board members like you, which is why I wanted to take the opportunity to introduce you all to our audience and for people to hear from you. So thank you for that. Thank you for serving, and thank you for being a part of it. Do you have anything? We have a few more minutes. Do you have anything you want to share in general about who you are or your business? Or tell us a little bit about how that works and how people can reach you or what that looks like.
So I'm in real estate, and you can always find me on social media. I'm always all over social media, and so I don't mean to get on people's nerves, but kind of being in your face is what I do, because I want you to remember who I am. And I also share things about my family on there because I want people to know that I'm a real person. I'm not just like a faucet, like I'm creating like this fake image of like this perfect world or anything, because our worlds aren't perfect. We're people. And but I am in real estate, been doing that for 5 years. I love it. It gets tough at times, especially in our crazy little market we're in right now, but you can always find me on social media. Google my name, my number will pop up. And I would love to help anybody that's looking to list a home, buy a home. If you're not ready now, one of the big things I do is connect you with, first we need to see where you're at. So the first step is always getting your pre-approval, right? And so we need to see where you're at. Can you purchase now? If you can't, we put you on a path, a plan, because that's what we do. We don't just say, oh, well, I'm sorry, you can't buy a house, call me back in a year. So my big thing is I keep a list of everybody, and I filter through that list. If you need 3 more months to see where your credit's at, we're going to give you 3 months. Then I'm going to call you back and say, hey, let's do another check and see where you're at. Because I feel like that's important in our community, is not just to let somebody slide because you can't do it here now. Oh, just forget about them. That's not what we do. So I always want to make sure that I'm giving everybody an opportunity. So if you can't purchase today, we're going to find and make a way for you to be able to do that. And what does it take? Now you have to do the work. Just like I have to do the work when it comes time for you to find a home. You have to do the work to get there, but I will help you get there. And so that's just another resource that I kind of provide. And I know not everybody does that, but it's important to me because whether that's business now or in the future, it's all business. And I want everybody to feel like they're getting a fair, equal opportunity. So, yeah.
I think that it is so funny that something that has been a business that people could do right for years is so different. It's so different from when I bought my house. I mean, that was 16 years ago, and we purchased a foreclosure, and it was very just, slow pace. Like, okay, you make a phone call, they call you back, you set up an appointment. Like, it was not this rush, got to get it now, got to be the first one. I mean, I have watched so many of my family members just suffer through, going to look after home and missing opportunities and not being able to find what suited their family. And it's crazy.
It is. And so the one thing I tell everybody that calls me is, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready for the little bit of craziness you're going to experience? Do you have somewhere to go if you sell your house? Because it's very important that when you call me, I'm not just going to say, yeah, let's list your house, and then you sell it and you have nowhere to go. Like, do you have somewhere to go? Because that's important. And if you're in the world of purchasing a home, I'm very honest. It's a tough market. And so I break it down on, here's what you need to do, here's what we need to have, and here's what you need to be prepared for. And so I think it's important because you can call any agent out there, but not all agents are the same. And so just keep that in mind when you're looking, is make sure that you pick somebody that's really going to take care of your needs.
I think that's super important, and that probably goes for any kind of business that you're doing, especially when it affects your family or when you're doing business to business and it affects your business. So, well, we are out of time, so I'll just give you a final thought. Anything you would like to share or say before we wrap it up?
Just always believe in yourself and just be a light. Be a light for yourself and be a light for others in our community.
Well, you are definitely a shining light in our community, and we are very thankful for you.
Thank you, Diane.
You're welcome. That is it for today's News and Views show. As always, you can find us in downtown Reidsville at 140 South Scale Street, or on social media, or at our website, which is www.reidsvillechamber.org. We look forward to seeing you. Come by and see us at the Visitor Center. And that's it. Stay tuned for more.